dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye up, bye up. And in Menudo Style in direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I am kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support. We're going up on this channel. It's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled and very much so appreciative, right? So I just did a video prior to this one. That's why it's taking me so long. Usually I put my videos out early morning. And it seems like YouTube is having a problem with this. So I'll figure that out. It's already recorded, man. Put it under review. It's a little bit controversial, but it's a lot real, right? So we'll see how it all comes out. I'll probably drop it anyways, whether I get paid for it or not. I don't give a shit, right? So let's keep it real since today's keeping it real day, right? And I've been asked a question a lot. And so I'm going to tell you from my perspective and from how I feel, and I could be totally offbeat with this one, right? But I've done my homework and I wouldn't put out something that I wasn't quite sure about. But I was asked, what barrio in Southern California has the most black Southsiders, Africanos, brothers, man, that actually grew up in the barrios, that actually represent the sur, that actually represent the Mexicano cultura? How many? Who is it? Who has the most, right? Now, there's a lot of mixed gangs in LA. When I say mixed, meaning they have a little bit of everything. There's actually a barrio in Santana that's all Pinoy, right? Meaning there's nothing but Pinoys in that hood, or the majority of that hood is. There's actually Armenian gangs that actually are Southsiders, like Armenian Power 13, that basically, you know, are all of one ethnicity that are not Mexicano, but they roll with the southern side, not the other side, right? So having done time when I was a youngster in the youth authority, you know, I met a lot of different vatos from different barrios. And I gained an understanding. You know, I wanted to do my homework and know who my enemy was, my enemigo. And I know a lot of people hear me say enemiga, and they got at me. They're like, hey, you can't say that. That's disrespect. That's just a slang that we used when I was in the youth authority. It kind of stuck with me, right? But enemigo is the correct word, right? With respect. And I will say that I gained a great understanding of a lot of these guys. And I remember there would be some black Southsiders. I met Casper from Playboys, who was really with the fucking business. I know because I have forever a dent in my head to prove it, right? I've met Crook from Primera Flats. That was a brother, man, that was with the business. Several others, right? But I remember, you know, hearing about a particular gang that had a lot of Africano brothers that were Southsiders. And I don't even know if the gang is still around in that area in Southern California anymore. But it was a gang called Posers 13. Posers it was a mixed gang with a lot of different ethnicities, and it had a lot of brothers, man, that claimed the sur. Now, another gang that I know that has a lot, and now, meaning these aren't the ones that have the most. I think I hit it right on the head with the one who has the most, and I'm going to tell you here in a minute. But Watts Barrio Grape Street definitely had a good representation of Southerners that were black. Now, I'll tell you one thing about the black Southerners, white Southerners. Anyone that's of a different ethnicity that goes in and joins the Southsiders, once they join them, they cease to care about where they come from as far as their pigmentation of their skin. None of that matters anymore. What matters more than anything is your barrio and what you're representing the cause, right? And it doesn't mean that they hate their people. It doesn't mean they forget where they come from or what they were born into, their familia. But they just grew up in a neighborhood and their heart is right there, man. And they got love for that culture. You know, I've met a lot of brothers, man, and I got a lot of respect for brothers that they just love the Mexican culture and vice versa, man. I think myself, I'm a mixed breed when it comes to cultures. I think every culture is beautiful. Everyone has something to offer, and I respect it, man. I can't be sitting here listening to Pac, listening to Nip, listening to NWA, Cube, and all that, and not say, man, that the black culture has not produced some of the finest and greatest entertainment and music ever, right? Because it has. I'm a big Earth, Wind, and Fire fan, man. You know, and they were all about black love and spreading positivity. And that's what I fuck with, right? Real shit. So anyways, you know, that doesn't make these guys wrong. But just like on the northern side, when you're of a different ethnicity and you go into a Mexican group or gang that's predominantly raza, you kind of adapt to their idealisms, their ways, and their culture. And that's what a lot of these brothers do. I noticed, you know, I can remember there was one, and I'm going to tell you guys a little story. So I'm in Nellis, I'm in the youth authority, and he had just come on the compa. And I'm not going to speak on his vato or say his name in particular because, you know, he got drugged. But this is just what it was. You know, he was walking around. We were small guys. We were like nothing but 12, 13 years old at the time. And this vato had the biggest chip on his shoulder. Understandable. Understandable because when you're from a different race or ethnicity, you feel like you have to prove yourself more as a Southerner or Northerner. It just is what it is. You put yourself on frontline status. Now, that ain't the case, to be honest with you. You really don't have to do that in most cases. But some vatos feel like, hey, man, I'm going to prove how down I am for the cause, right? And so he had never been around Northerners. I could tell because he was watching us like close, doing his homework, like studying us. Man, do they have horns or do they have tails or whatever? He was tripping out on us. And me, by this time, I had already been down south in Southern California for about a year doing time. So I pretty much knew what it was. Nobody liked us. And I didn't like nobody, right? I could be respectful and cool, but I didn't really care for you, right? And that was just that. That was the mentality there. We were young. We were trying to earn stripes. We were trying to prove how hard of a gang member we were. So this particular day, I knew he was up to something. He was going to do something. But I figured like most vatos do, you know, youngsters, he's going to wait till he has more camaradas, more homeboys around him. So I tell my homeboy Shadow from Richmond, like, hey, bro, we got to watch out for this dude. He said, that fool don't want that smoke. I'll put him on his pockets, right? I said, yeah, but at the same time, he might pick up a pedazo and do something because he feels like he has to more than anyone else, right? And the homie's like, yeah, I see it. I see he's up to something. You can just tell someone's eyes, their movements, their mannerisms. It's going down. So I'm like, if this motherfucker gets an itchy trigger, I'm going to pull it. I'm just going to get off first. So we go to chow early in the morning and I can see vatos discussing and they're on his head like, whoa, telling him like, you got to do it like this. You got to do it like that. You got to do it with the wiffle ball bat, right? So I'm telling my homeboys with eyes like, I'm going to get up. So we're in the chow hall. And I guess, you know, this guy was probably waiting till we're going to walk back from chow or whatever. But I waited till they started taking our trays. So you would dump your trays and then they'd release tables at a time. You go line up. 2 lines, everybody would go back to the compa. We were right by the compa, the building, right there. So I waited. So he dropped this tray. Everyone was done eating. So I didn't want to disrespect. What you don't want to do is disrespect someone during chow. People are eating. They're hungry. You know, some people don't got it like that. They don't got commissary. They don't, especially when you're young, man, family distancing themselves. So I waited till everyone ate. I tell my boy Spanks from Gilroy, rest in peace, right? I'm like, hey, bro, I'm going to get off right now. And he's like, damn, it's going to kick everything off. I said, fuck it, it is what it is, bro. But I think this dude's going to hit one of the homies. I could just tell. And he had a jacket. So in Hawaii, they would give you these, like, they weren't jean jackets. They did up north when you went to Preston, but they'd give you, they were like as thin as paper. I forget, you know, they were just these weird ass, like almost a range slick jacket type thing they would give us, right? Button up. If you had a little money and you could buy something, you get the black one, but most people had the dark blue one, whatever, right? I could tell when he was fidgeting with his hand, he had a piece on him or a battery pack, which is what most people use. So I'm like, okay, this motherfucker's tripping, right? So when he got up to walk past, I stood up. When I stood up, he swung a battery pack at me. Missed. Tiger! Hit him with the uppercut, right? He falls back, I'm on him. Boom, 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 boom. My boy Shadow jumps up, he's stomping him. Boom, 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 fuck it. And it kicks off right there in the chow. But half of the Southsiders were outside already. They were already in the line. None of the Northerners were in the line. We were going to go in the second line. It's called strategic plans, right? So the cops immediately closed the door. Down, everyone down, right? They hit the pin. So now there's probably about 20 Southerners in the chow hall and like 15 of us. You know what it was, right? Boom, 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 boom. Down, down, down. We ain't getting down. And I remember I was on this dude. He had the battery pack and he's trying. Man, I'll pick that motherfucker up. Tas. I started giving him the business with his own battery pack. I say that to say this. I seen it, and I knew what he was going to do. He felt like he had to prove himself, or maybe he fucked up somewhere else, and he was just going to take the initiative to do that. But it was what it was, right? So they put me in the oil in the box, and they put him in the hole, right? We got caught. Like, all of us were in the hole and shit. Motherfuckers were upset about it. I ain't going to lie. We came back to the compound. It was on a cracker for like a month straight. Damn, those were the good times, right? And the bad times. So anyways, I remember talking to him. He's like, don't talk to me, Buster. Ooh, all right, cool, right? And the fool was funny. He ended up getting dicked up, meaning that he ended up getting dropped lev off or whatever. And they took some aggression out on him. And it was a cold situation. I seen it from a distance. They moved him to a different compa. He actually went to Adams. So let's get back to what the video is about. Who has the most Southsiders? What gang in Southern California? Now, there's going to be a lot of people, and if you know something different, I want you to leave a comment and let me know. You know, because I think they all come, well, not they all come from, but there is a lot in a gang called 18th Street, right? I believe 18th Street probably has the most blacks, not only in Southern California as Southsiders, but worldwide, right? 18th Street is established in different countries. It's everywhere. It's one of the biggest gangs ever, right? And you would think, well, of course, gun, because it's one of the biggest gangs, they're going to have more of every. No, but back in the days, 18th Streeters, they were no joke. This is true. This is what I've heard from Southerners, that 18th Street were so ruthless back in the days that they'd hit you up like, hey, homie, where you from? I don't gangbang. Boop, 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 boop. They get on you. They'd be like, now you're from 18th Street. Now you don't got a choice. We're not going to give you an opportunity to make a choice. Like, they were really with the aggression in the program. And I've seen them, man. They're deep wherever you go. Every compa, there was 18th Streeters representing. Every institution I've been to, whether it was Northern California, Southern California, there was 18th Streeters representing. But probably more blacks than I ever seen that were Southerners were from 18th Street. There was a lot of them, right? And it's not because they just were in that area where there was a lot of brothers, man. Because they call it victim of a community, but I call it, you are where you're at. You adapt to your surroundings. That's where you come from. That's probably where you're going to be. But more so it's because they were on some recruiting shit back in the days. I'm telling you, there are a lot of whites, a lot of Asians, a lot of blacks, but most of the blacks that I ran into that were Southerners were from 18. So, when I've been asked that question several times, like, who has the most Southsiders? I don't know who per capita or number has the most. And then I always say, but what does it matter? Southsiders are Southsiders to me. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, green, or yellow. I respect everyone's gangster. Truth, right? But people still want to know. So the answer that I could give you is 18. Baru 18, right? Now, I remember I ran into one dude who was a black dude. He used to be able to draw real good, right? And I was in the organ system doing a little bit of time, right? And we were in the oil. And I just got off with some white dude, man. And with some wood, brother. And I was doing the 6 months. They give you over there, they give you like 6 months in the hole, 180 right off the top, man. Just cancel Christmas. If Christmas is in 3 months, you're going to be there. You're going to be eating chicken nuggets for Christmas. But that's just how it was. So I'm doing my 180. He comes into the building and I see he's black. He got a little afro, whatever, right? Tall, dark. And so I said, oh, there's a brother on here, man. Usually I'm cool with the brothers. We share magazines, look out for each other. Me being one of the only Norteños there, man, it's like that's pretty much who I talk to. I would talk to some of the Southsiders, but most of them wouldn't chop it up with me. But he comes in, whatever, right? And I remember I was like, hey, bro, what's up? He's like, what's up, Issei? And I was like, Issei? And I said, damn, most brothers will say Essay. What's up, Essay? Well, that's how he said it. He was from 18, and that's what they called him. That was his Placaso, Issei, right? Cool dude, though. He could draw like a motherfucker, was with the business and the program. And we only had a couple conversations, and they were very civil and very respectful. But I remember, man, it seemed like just in that time period, that dude went out for the oil, came back. Like the cops were fucking with him. He came back, went back, came back, came back. Finally, he smashed on someone. He was doing a 6-month term in there. And that was it. So I ran into a lot of the brothers, man, that were Southerners. But, my answer would be probably 18. Now, I remember one time I went to go visit my primo in Compton. And we went into South Central. We had to go to South Central. My tia wanted to go to the store. And I ain't even going to lie, I had never, ever really been. I heard a lot of stories about South Central just because I did time with authors from 60s, A-Trade Gangsters, Hoovers, a gang of Southerners, from Florencia, and I met a lot of East Coast Crips. So that whole South Central area. So I'd always wanted to see it from Boys in the Hood, but I'd never been there. I'm from Northern California, so I'd never really tripped on it. But you hear the war stories, right? So I'm like, fuck it. I'll go with you guys. I ain't going to lie. I was just trying black hoodie, whatever. Whoa, let's go, right? So we go. And there was a group of black dudes. And my cousin, hey, can I get you, say? Can I stop at the liquor store, say? Can I? I don't know, it's your car. Let's go, right? So him and his old lady jump off to go into the liquor store to get him a little something to drink on, right? And I want to smoke a frajo, so I go outside of the car. There's like 4 or 5 brothers right there, right? I'm not tripping. I'm not even tripping off how they're dressed. I'm not even paying attention. I'm just seeing 4 or 5 brothers. It is what it is, man. Ain't no one going to really trip on me, I don't think, right? And one of them was like, hey, Sid, where you from? And it was at that moment I knew I was royally in trouble, right? So I turned around like, oh, hell no, right? Now I see it. Blue Paños, Ben Davises, Cortezes. hairnet on one of the brothers. I was like, oh, hell no, right? What's up, right? Vatos were like, hey, where you from, right? I said, California. I ain't gonna lie. They were like, nah. I said, no, I'm from Northern California, bro. They were like, you bang? I did it at this time, you know? I said, nah, I'm cool with that shit. They were like, oh, that's right. This 18, homie. I was like, orale, 18th Street. I said, I did time with some of your homeboys, Crow and Babyface. And, you know, I started throwing names out there. You know how it is, man, motherfucker. I know your homeboy this. I know your homeboy that. I did it with a wiffle ball bat, right? So they're like, oh, that's right. And then I felt the need to tell them exactly what it was. And I felt like a sucker, man. I ain't gonna lie, right? So I said, hey, I used to be a Norteño, bro. They were like, what? I said a Norteño. And they were like, oh, that's cool. They didn't even know what a Northerner was. So that let me know that these guys hadn't been locked up or nothing. They was out there representing, though. And I remember getting back in the car, my kids, yeah, where those come out anyways, yeah. I said, no, they were fucking Southsiders. They were, yeah. He goes, I know, you couldn't tell? I could tell, I see. Right? And I was like, well, I could tell now. Everything worked out for everything. But I'm not going to lie, that was my first experience in South Central, running into them. So to answer the question that was asked, to reiterate, the most brothers that I ever seen that were Southsiders were from 18th Street. But I heard from a good homeboy that the Barrio Posers, 13, and like I said, I don't know if they're still around, they're way old Barrio, did have a lot of brothers in there too, man, like per capita, like they were deep. So I don't know, man. My thing is, does it really matter? You know, I hear like in Northern California, we got a white epidemic. They always say, well, there's a lot of white Norteños like Woody and several others, right? And my thing is, it doesn't matter to me, the ethnicity or it doesn't matter, because once you join the barrio, it's all about the barrio and what it represents. It has nothing to do anymore with what you look like, or, you know, if you look like fucking Eminem or Vanilla, like it doesn't matter, you know. But there are a lot of white Northerners. Like for some reason, I guess as you get further up north to like the Eureka area, those places where it's predominantly white, there is a Mexican influence. So of course there's gonna be vatos that represent, but that don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on a white Northerner. Them vatos dunk your shit, dunk your cookie. You know what I mean? They ain't playing. So, and neither are the brothers, man, from the Southern hoods. But I think at the end of the day, it's a frivolous question, to be honest with you. I think it's something that we're all intrigued by when it comes to the gang lifestyle, why someone would go out of their ethnicity and claim another gang. But I've seen, you know, white Crips and white Bloods. I've seen Mexican Crips and Bloods. It's like I said, it ain't about, it's where your heart is. It's where your heart is. But where your heart is, your head better be there too. That's some real knowledge you can't get in college. Because there's going to be people that feel some type of way. They feel like, you're trying to play the system, or you're just trying to join up with something that you don't know about, or you're just, but it's not like that, man. Some of the hardest people I've ever met were from different ethnicities in different culture of gangs. And it's cool, man. I have no problem with it. But yeah, so there's my answer. 18, man, probably the barrio with the most blacks. If you guys know about any other hoods, let us know in the comments, man. We had in my neighborhood one brother, man. We ended up with two. But we had one that, small homeboy for life. I don't care if he's active or not. Like, this is a homie, like, man, we did some shit. This is my boy, right? He's a brother, man. He's got a lot of respect in the hood. Well-known, name dipped in gold. He's rolling. He's dipping like, but, right? He's the homie. And he ain't no punk. And he knows where he comes from. He has family in Oakland. I remember I told a story. His family in Oakland came down. We went to Mount Mike's Pizza. We were all going to go see the Raiders-Niners game. And he walked in with just nothing but Mexicans, and the brothers that came and the sisters that came from Oakland, they were like, what the fuck is this, right? He was like, it's my barrio, right? They were like, barrio? Motherfucker, we thought you was a blood, right? And that was that. But after we all kicked it, it was all good. So we eat pizza too. Anyways, with that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. I hope I was able to answer that question. Again, to me, man, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It's respect all across the board. It's always going to be like that, man. Some of them brothers, man, Casper from Playboys. I say his name because I got to give it respect. That vato was putting people on their backs in YA. He was on swole too. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people. Like I said, I recorded a video before this one for this channel. I'll probably drop it later if it goes green. It's kind of controversial. Your boy got warned a little bit. You'll see it. The gun. Bang, bang. Gunna gang.